would like to know about you as a professional.
I was trained as a pharmacist at Banaras Hindu University, where I obtained my graduation in pharmaceutical sciences, and then went ahead to do my doctorate in London University on a very interesting subject of to find secret behind arrow poisons. And I found out the various areas in Africa where arrow poisons are used. Then I unraveled the structure of the chemical substances in the arrow poisons, and at one time I had extracted more than 2 kilos of these arrow poisons with me. In 1957, it was good enough to destroy whole of London if it was put in the water stream. So it's a journey to natural resources, and then onwards, as most of Indians, they go to United States after doctorate to do postdoctoral fellowship. I chose to go to Europe and applied for a fellowship, FIBA Foundation fellowship, and I got admission under Professor Prelog, who got Nobel Prize, very famous organic chemist, in ETH, that is Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich. In 1960, I always had a streak of participating in the community, and I was a General Secretary of the Indischer Student in Bahrain, that Indian Students Association, and got involved in organizing the Republic Day, which was in 1960 the biggest civil function in Zurich, and in the Zurich Town Hall. And from there we thought that we will diversify our career and go to another professor to learn. This time later on I went to Stockholm, Sweden, and worked under a Nobel Committee man in Sweden in natural product chemistry. Until that time, it just happened that I was in touch with SIBA people even when I was in Zurich, and then they were thinking of opening a research center in India. So they say, why don't you complete your training and education and go to United States and do some industrial research. So then I went, very fortunately, I went to work under Professor Schlittler, who discovered Reserpine, the tranquilizer, which came from an Indian plant, Rauwolfia serpentina, or in Hindi you call it Serpina. And he was the discoverer of Reserpine, and therefore there was a strong Indian connection. And incidentally, both Professor Prelog and Professor Schlittler were very staunch Indophiles. They used to really loved, and with care that they bestowed upon me, gave me enough opportunity to learn as much as I could. But then 1962, there was a war between China and India. India was defending. I at that time decided not to take any foreign exchange out even from my meager salary. I said I will do whatever savings I have made, and I lived, and then we decided that we must come back to India. There was no need for me to further, and of course the research center was ready. On 5th March 1963, Pandit Nehru opened that research center. He came to my lab And he asked me, "Young man, what are you doing?" I said, "Sir, I'm trying to discover inexpensive medicines for India's teeming millions." He asked me, "Young man, where did you learn this word teeming millions?" I said, "Where else? Discovery of India." In the acknowledgement, second line. He was very surprised. The scientist also read Discovery of India, which later on in the inaugural speech he mentioned that there are scientists here who know about Indian culture and history. I worked there for almost 25 years plus in that research center. There the sole aim was interested to find tropical medicine, particularly medicine meant for our country. I was deputed to work on amoebiasis. We had an amoebiasis product which was tested in many years, many countries. Thousands of cases were done. But ultimately, when something is to be used for amoebiasis, it has to be, toxicology has to be done. Then again I was dispatched to UK to transfer this technology. This was perhaps one of the first reverse transfers of technology from India to United Kingdom. We manufactured 2 tons of this drug just for toxicity studies. At the end of thousands of animals which were fed this drug, potential drug, unfortunately it was found that 4 of them had dose-related carcinogenicity. And obviously it was about to be marketed, but then there was a decision at Goregaon what to do with this drug. And of course I was not a member of decision, but then I was asked in the last minute to just be an observer there. And there was voting among clinicians and doctors from all over India, the world, who had come there to decide. When the voting was done, it was found that there was no unanimity. There was 50% were saying that it should be introduced, 50%, other 50% saying it should not be introduced. At that time, Chairman Dr. Fisher, the Vice Chairman of SIBA, because it was a very important meeting, he asked me with the people present there, "Can we ask the inventor to vote?" And they said, "Of course." And I was asked to put confidentially my opinion. I must tell you now that the opinion was that it should not be introduced.